How does a single assassination turn into a war that kills millions of people across the planet? In the summer of 1914, Europe was not supposed to explode into global chaos. Most leaders believed the continent's alliances would actually prevent war. Powerful nations were connected through treaties, promises, and military agreements designed to maintain balance. Instead, those same alliances became the trigger for one of the deadliest conflicts in human history. This is the story of how a regional dispute between Austria-Hungary and Serbia snowballed into World War I, and how one gunshot in Sarajevo changed the world forever. By the early 1900s, Europe looked powerful on the surface. Its empires controlled massive territories across the globe. Technology and industry were advancing rapidly. Major cities were growing richer and more modern every year. But underneath that progress, Europe was becoming dangerously unstable. Nationalism was rising. Countries competed aggressively for colonies, military power, and influence. Old rivalries continued growing stronger, especially between France and Germany after the Franco-Prussian War of 1870. Germany had defeated France and emerged as a new European superpower. France never forgot the humiliation. At the same time, tensions were increasing in southeastern Europe, especially in the Balkans. The Balkans had once been dominated by the Ottoman Empire, but as Ottoman control weakened, smaller nations fought for territory and independence. One of those nations was Serbia. Serbia wanted to unite Slavic people across the region, including those living under Austria-Hungary's control. Austria-Hungary saw this as a direct threat. The empire ruled over many ethnic groups and feared nationalist movements could tear the country apart from within. Then came Bosnia. In 1908, Austria-Hungary officially annexed Bosnia-Herzegovina, angering Serbia and many Slavic nationalists who believed the territory belonged to them. Tensions continued rising for years. And then, in June 1914, everything exploded. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, traveled to Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia. Waiting for him there were young revolutionaries. One of them was Gavrilo Princip, a member of a nationalist group called Young Bosnia. The organization wanted to end Austro-Hungarian rule in the region. Serbian nationalists had helped supply weapons and support to the group. At first, the assassination attempt failed. One attacker threw a bomb at the Archduke's car, but it missed. Later that day, something unexpected happened. The driver of Franz Ferdinand's car made a wrong turn. By pure coincidence, the vehicle stopped near Gavrilo Princip, who was standing on the street. Princip seized the opportunity. He stepped forward and fired 2 shots. One bullet struck Franz Ferdinand, the other hit his wife Sophie. Both died within hours. The assassination shocked Europe, but almost nobody expected it to start a world war. Austria-Hungary blamed Serbia for supporting the attackers. Leaders in Vienna believed they had to respond forcefully or risk appearing weak. But there was a problem. Russia supported Serbia. Russia saw itself as the protector of Slavic nations in the Balkans and warned Austria-Hungary against aggressive action. Austria-Hungary needed support before taking military action, so it turned to Germany. Germany promised full backing to Austria-Hungary, what historians later called the blank check. With German support secured, Austria-Hungary delivered harsh demands to Serbia during what became known as the July Crisis. Serbia accepted many demands, but rejected some key conditions that would have allowed Austria-Hungary to interfere directly in Serbian affairs. Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia on July 28, 1914. At that moment, the conflict was still regional, but Europe's alliance system was about to pull the entire continent into war. Russia began mobilizing its army to defend Serbia. Germany viewed Russian mobilization as a direct threat. Germany then declared war on Russia, but Russia was allied with France. Germany responded by declaring war on France as well. Now the conflict was spreading rapidly across Europe. Germany's military strategy required defeating France quickly before fully turning east toward Russia. To do this, Germany invaded Belgium in order to attack France from the north. That decision changed everything. Britain had long guaranteed Belgian neutrality under the Treaty of London. When Germany invaded Belgium, Britain declared war on Germany. Within days, Europe's great powers were at war. And because these empires controlled territories around the world, the conflict soon spread far beyond Europe. Japan joined the Allies. The Ottoman Empire joined Germany and Austria-Hungary. Later, Italy switched sides and fought against its former allies. Eventually, the United States entered the war in 1917. What had started as a political crisis in the Balkans had become World War I. But why did leaders allow this to happen? Part of the answer lies in fear. Every country believed backing down would make them appear weak. Military leaders also believed speed was critical. Once armies started mobilizing, stopping them became nearly impossible. Many leaders thought the war would be short. They were catastrophically wrong. Instead of quick victories, Europe entered years of trench warfare, industrialized killing, and mass destruction. Machine guns cut down soldiers by the thousands. Artillery destroyed entire cities. Poison gas introduced terrifying new forms of suffering. And millions of young men died in muddy trenches stretching across Europe. By the end of the war in 1918, more than 20 million soldiers and civilians had been killed. Entire empires collapsed. The German Empire fell. Austria-Hungary disappeared completely. The Ottoman Empire was destroyed. Russia descended into revolution. And although the war ended with the Treaty of Versailles in 1919, peace never truly returned. Germany was blamed heavily for the war and forced to accept severe punishments and reparations. The bitterness created by the treaty would eventually help pave the way for another global conflict only 2 decades later, World War II, and that is perhaps the most chilling part of the story. World War I was not caused by a single assassination alone. It was caused by years of nationalism, alliances, fear, militarism, and political rivalry building beneath the surface of Europe. The assassination of Franz Ferdinand was simply the spark. The continent itself was already a powder keg waiting to explode. And once the chain reaction began, nobody could stop it.